Hello, I'm Aubrey Shepherd, and this is the 12th of January 2014. Let's see some photos from Fayetteville, Arkansas. This is the site of the former Aspen Ridge project. That's what was set up right then, but eventually it became the Hill Place Apartments. So all that ground is covered by huge buildings, but just a couple of years earlier, that ground, this is probably 2007, that ground was covered with trees, big, mature trees. So you can see a tree at the left there. That was the single giant oak they left in the median. And of course, there was no way to water it, especially when they quit working on it and abandoned it for 2 years. So that big tree died. They named that big tree the some kind of oak. They gave it a special name. It is a special tree. Or it was a special tree, but there were plenty more in the same general size. That's the old trestle. Now, if you see that trestle, it's covered with a paved city trail, and it's part of the Salageek Trail that runs from uh, over to the east all the way west to Razorback Road, and will be extended further west. So, oh, there's the big tree again. It left in this picture, and it was a beautiful oak, but they named the street after it. But it didn't last long, so it was an unfortunate occurrence that happens when you spend all your money that you borrowed for a development site on clearing ground, removing trees, paving even streets through there, and then the money runs out. You can't borrow anymore. Here you see two young men who are working on the machinery that measures the flow of water. That's the combined flow of that was Tanglewood Branch and Spout Spring Branch combined, where they go under 15th Street. That photo there was a view of the more work related to the Hill Place Apartments, and that's the trail head at 12th Street that goes out into Pinnacle Prairie, Pinnacle Wet Prairie, the place where I show you flowers all summer long and into the fall every year. So it's just a beautiful sight, and I hope we soon are seeing wildflowers again out there and beautiful native tall grass. So until next time, this is Aubrey Shepherd asking you to do your part to keep things like this from happening if you can. See that, I've talked for years about make sure people have the money, not promise the money by a bank, and that they actually own the property before they're allowed, own it outright, and have the money to do the building before they move a single stick of vegetation or get rid of any of the big trees and remove the good soil. That's what counts the most. More beautiful things will grow if you leave that soil in place in these former prairie areas. So please enjoy your new year, and I hope to be with you again soon. Tonight happens to be the night of the championship football game, and I'm sure we'll hear nothing but talk about who won from now till the day this comes on the air. See ya. Hello, Aubrey Shepherd again on the 12th of January 2014, and we're looking at photos today of the Regional National Cemetery Improvement Corporation. Their meeting was on the Saturday before this, Saturday the 10th. The man in the center there is Harold Capillo. He's up in his 80s, and he's a veteran who has, for the last 7 years, served as the treasurer. But he finally said, this is enough. There's so much work involved in keeping up with the funds, doing the banking and all those things, that I think I'll turn it over to someone younger. So the lady had left in the black cap and shirt. She's taking over that position for the coming year. But we did give Harold a certificate of appreciation for all the work he's done. Of course, he was with the Regional National Cemetery Improvement Corporation way before he became its treasurer. So I guess I've been a member of that group from just about as long as he's been treasurer, but he's been there a long time, and I hope he's going to be there much longer. Here's the full group on Saturday. You can see the vice chairman at far left, and closest to us, the lady in the gray, the white and gray shirt. She's the secretary, and everybody there does several jobs. At right in the background there, you see in dark clothing 2 people. One of them, the man, is the director, the new director of the National Cemetery, and the lady at his left is his, the second in command out there, and has worked there for several years. The director is new, third director we've had in 2 years or 3 years, and he came from another state, and he made a nice speech here. I didn't get all that recorded, but he made a great speech praising how well RNCIC has done in working for the improvement, enlargement of the National Cemetery. Since 3 or 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, when the sale barn property was approved to become student apartments by the city council, the natural expansion area for the National Cemetery on the east was removed from consideration. So now the officers here, you can see, being sworn in, and they have just done so much work, and all the others. That's Lorna Steerage. She's the one who does the secretarial work, the recording of the minutes and those things. And there's Harold again. He's just a great and generous person. Now, let's jump to something else that I did on Saturday, the 10th, and let's take a few pictures of the request of a friend who wanted to look at this property, not to buy it. He's just an artist who wants to do something to hide the back of these buildings that have been exposed in the process of, well, first they took out mostly the building where this parking lot is, but then they've taken off parts of the existing property still there. And it doesn't look very pretty. If a new building had been put up there, it would be whatever it was, and you wouldn't be seeing the back of this. But this gentleman said he was interested in coming up with a design for some art, public art, on the outside of those exposed walls there. Good idea, but I hope he didn't do it just in time for it to be replaced by a building. But if some of you remember when that parking lot was, before it was paved, it was a big hole in the ground. It was very famous after they'd removed the foundations from that old hotel that was there. And it actually, for a season or two, it had wildflowers growing in it, wetland plants and so forth. That's the federal Confederate cemetery. And that's just way over in the background on the hillside. I'll tell you when we see where it would be if it shows up. But anyway, it's over to the east, and you can see it from the buildings up on the square there, some of them. And it's something that everybody ought to go visit and learn more about the history of Fayetteville. Till next time, Miss Aubrey Shepard asking you to do your part to help keep the water clean, air pure, and woods green. See you.